UK. The UK has given us their first season of Love Island, and I will be recapping episodes 1 through 4 because those are the only ones that have dropped. The next episodes drop on the 14th. So let's get into it. So the major couples that are featured in this season are Sam and Nicole, Sabrina and Steven, Bobby and Jasmine, Catherine and Freddie, and Tom and Marie. So I'm going to start with the first couple who met or who had the proposal and met, because they went back and they did the whole going into the pods and talking to all the couples. But I feel like Sabrina and Steven, I know there's a lot of editing and things that we didn't see, but from what it looked like, their proposal happened pretty quickly. Because they met during episode 1, so they finally saw each other. They seem to have liked each other, but with their situation, I feel like when they were in the pods talking, kids came up, and that seemed to be I think she didn't want kids. Yeah, she didn't want kids. He definitely wants to be a dad. And so, that caused a little bit of conflict with them. So when Sabrina went back to the women's living quarters, she did talk about that, and they both felt a little uneasy after that conversation. But then when they met up again to talk, and she said that she would be willing to use surrogacy or even adopt, and then he was like, that's great. I'm willing to do that as well. But I still feel like that's going to be a major problem for them later on. But they decided to meet, and they proposed, at the end of episode 1, they met, and they seem to like each other. So they get whisked off to wherever. They separate after they meet, and then I'm not sure what they do with the couple separately, if they send them back into the living quarters, because with editing, it's hard to tell because you still see them when other girls or guys are talking about their connections. So we won't see them again until they all go on their vacation together. Because usually, if you're not familiar with it, when everyone couples up, then they all go to some resort or something, and see how things go on this vacation, and everybody meets up. So that was it for Sabrina and Steven for now. And then the next couple is Bobby and Jasmine. Now, Bobby and Jasmine connected, but Jasmine also connected with Sam. But she is feeling Bobby more. So during her dates with Sam, she did talk to him about having a more of a connection with Bobby. But Sam, he came off as superficial to me. He did say that he had a problem with his appearance, and he had a nose job, and he did some things to better his appearance, which is fine. But when he was speaking with Jasmine in the pods, some things he said, I can see why she was put off a little bit, because he was basically saying, on my Instagram, some things that I post might come off as people might take it wrong. And she was like, well, what do you mean? And he said, if I worked hard on my body, and so I took a picture with my shirt off. But it was just weird because did he even need to bring that up? It just came off. I'm not too sure how I feel about Sam. Like I don't know. I mean, I can tell he did a lot of work on himself, so he wanted to talk about it. But the way he said it, I can see why Jasmine kind of felt, she felt like she wanted to ask him more about the thing, what he said. It was just odd. So Jasmine ultimately picks Bobby proposes to Jasmine, and she says yes. And he raps her this little poem in the pods, which I don't know, was kind of cringy to me. But anyway, he raps her a poem, and they're the second couple that meets. So they meet, and it was weird to me at first because when they run to each other, because they can't see each other, and they lift the little wall up, and then they see each other for the first time, which is one of my favorite parts of the shows, of the Love Is Blind shows. But when they ran up to each other and hugged, I felt like he kept trying to kiss her and she kept turning her head. It was weird to me. So I'm like, is she not into Bobby? But then they finally do kiss. Uh, so I guess, and then he gives her the ring, and then that couple's, we're done with that couple for now until their vacation. So then the next couple is Catherine and Freddie. Now, Catherine was also feeling Ollie. Ollie, who is who's also feeling Demi. So, okay, so we got Catherine and Freddie, who have a really good connection. Freddie is it's so funny because he's a funeral director, but he doesn't, to see him, you wouldn't think he was a funeral director. He just doesn't fit what you would think one would look like, really. But anyway, Freddie seems like a really nice guy. So back to Catherine though, because Catherine was feeling, she was feeling Ollie, and so was Demi, who I haven't mentioned yet, but she's coming. She's the Demi Ollie combination couple. But Catherine said something when she was in her interviews about Ollie and Demi, and she says, and I didn't think anything of this until she made her last comment, because she goes, well, I don't see them working in the outside world. And then she goes, oh, my mouth is going to get me in trouble. So I'm not exactly sure what she meant by that. If she just didn't think Demi was, I can tell you what I thought she meant by it. That she didn't think Demi was attractive enough. And Demi isn't one of those skinny girls or whatever, but she's very pretty. And I'm thinking, what does she mean by that? But I'm going to go with my first thought, and it was a comment about her body. I'm sure that's why she said it. At least that's what I think. That's my opinion. Because why would you say your mouth is going to get you in trouble? So anyway, that's a little side note on Catherine for me. So Catherine and Demi are friends, and they were discussing that they both have a connection with Ollie. And Demi was saying, she's always putting other people first. So just because Catherine is her friend, she's not going to stop pursuing Ollie, which works out for her because Ollie ultimately picks Demi. But so before all that, Ollie does meet with Catherine, and he tells her that he feels like their connection is more sexual, and that he has a better connection with Demi. So Catherine hears that, and then she just focuses more on Freddie. And Freddie, she may have said she felt like she had a deeper connection with Freddie, but I feel like if Ollie had picked Catherine, she would have said yes if he had proposed to her. So Freddie ends up reading Catherine a poem. And then he professes his love for her, and he proposes, and she says yes. So then they have their big reveal where they meet each other, and when they see each other, they seem to be happy with one another. And Freddie proposes and gives her the ring, and then they go off to couple land. Well, not couple land, because they separate the couples. So then they go off. So that's the end of them for now, until they go on their vacation. So then the next couple who meets is Nicole and Sam. Now, Nicole is also into Benaya, who's like the hippie cool kind of guy. And they had a really good connection, and I really liked them together. They talked and had a lot of things in common, and things seemed to be going really well with them. Well, here is the thing, because Sam, who was into Jasmine, but Jasmine ended up picking Bobby. So now Sam is focusing all his attention on Nicole, which this is what the experiment is about, finding, someone. But that makes Nicole his second choice. So that kind of came out of nowhere for me, because I just wasn't feeling Sam and Nicole, not as much as I was Benaya and Nicole. So they're talking, and well, let me back up for a second because, okay, before Sam, Benaya was talking to Nicole, and she asked him, how are you in this process? Do you see yourself proposing to anyone? Because ultimately, at the end of this whole thing, there's supposed to be a marriage, right? And he says to her, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm at that point that I would propose or marry someone. So then she's taken aback by that. And I think, well, I'm pretty sure that's why she kind of focused more on Sam. So anyway, back to Sam and Nicole. When they were talking, he made a comment like, I can't wait to grab you and pick you up. And she says, well, you'll be able to pick me up. So then he's looking like, what does that mean? And she and she's not, someone that he wouldn't be able to pick up. But I think she just felt like, because she's not a size zero. So after that, he goes back to the men's quarters, and he's talking about how much she likes her and he's falling for her. And he does say to one of the guys, he thought it was odd that she made the comment, almost like maybe he couldn't pick her up. So I was like, oh, here we go. He's superficial. He's gonna say something about her size. If he did, they didn't air it. But the whole time he was talking, Benaya was sitting there and he heard him. And when they showed Benaya in the interviews, he says he felt like Sam isn't there for the right reasons, and he was going to tell Nicole that. So I'm thinking he was going to tell Nicole that he was worried about what size she was, but he didn't. So when Benaya went to go meet with Nicole in the pods for their date, he says, he didn't, and I believe him. He acted like he didn't want to be that guy, and he said he didn't want to be that guy, but he cared about Nicole and he wanted her to know. So he said, I don't think Sam's here for all the right reasons. I think he said he thought maybe he was there for fame. Um, and Nicole was, kind of gutted about it because she really liked him. So Nicole, her next date with Sam, she asks him about his intentions, why he's there. And I'm thinking, well, what else is he gonna say? But that's all you can do in this situation. So she asks him if he's there for the right reasons, and he reassures her that he is there indeed for the right reasons. And he also says to her, I mean, he gets real emotional about it, and he says to her, no one's ever loved him, and he just wants to be loved. And he says he wouldn't be there if it wasn't for her, but actually he wouldn't be there if it wasn't for Jasmine because she picked Bobby, to be honest. So Nicole has a lot to think about. So um, at the episode where she picks one of them, they show the both of the guys in the pods waiting for her to come in, and so she first goes in to see Sam, and he proposes and she accepts. And then she has to go to Benaya and let him know, and let him down. So she tells him that, she didn't say who she accepted a proposal from, but she just kind of lets him down. So then, and Benaya's sad about it. But see, the thing is, but Benaya tells her, how he feels about her, and that he really cares about her. But I feel like it was too little, too late for her because, when he said he wasn't ready to marry anyone, he wasn't sure after this experiment. That's what bothered her. But he had every right to say that. I mean, I get it; it makes sense. But so that's why she, kind of just focused more on Sam. So then, when Nicole and Sam meet, it was very odd to me because, okay, so they lift up the thing and they run to each other, and it's just weird. They don't kiss at all, and usually they kiss. They don't kiss at all, and he keeps saying like, trust me, I'm not gonna hurt you." And she's just being very strange. Like it came off like she didn't like him, she wasn't attracted to him, or that's just the way it came off. And he kept saying, do you trust me? Do you trust me? I'm going to take care of you. Their whole meeting was So weird. It was very bizarre. I haven't seen one that weird since I watched Love Is Blind Brazil. I think it was Brazil, and this guy met saw a girl he didn't like, and they didn't. He, it just didn't work. So if you want to watch a Love Is Blind Brazil was pretty good if you don't mind subtitles. But anyway, um, yeah. So it was just weird. They never kissed. They never once kissed, Nicole and Sam, after they met. Not at all. And he kept saying, one thing that he said that I thought was odd is he said, I don't care what anyone else thinks. I think she's freaking gorgeous. And I was I was like, what? What do you mean you don't care what anyone else thinks? So I don't know, that was just weird. So they sit down and he continues to say, trust me. And before they sat down though, he was like, what do you think? And he did a little turn, and her reaction was so weird to me because he's not a bad looking guy. So I don't know. She was just like, I don't know. Oh yeah. Like her reaction was crazy. But, it wasn't crazy, but it was obvious that she was not feeling this whole situation. So when they get ready to part and they walk to their separate doors, and he goes, wait. And she said, yes. And he goes, I think I love you. And she just kind of goes, I'll keep that with me. And he goes, don't change your mind or something. And then the doors close and they show her, and she's just sitting there like she's in shock. And then they show him during, how they go to the interviews, and he said, I just had to tell her that I loved her. And then the person, that was conducting the interview goes, you could hear his voice go, did she say it back? And he said, no, she didn't. So then they show her, and it looks like she's getting unmiked or whatever during her interview. And she's like, guys, I don't know what I've gotten myself into. So, and then that was the end of them for now, before the vacations. So then we have Tom and Maria. And Maria, during their conversations, Maria was saying how she wanted to stay home with her kids. And and Tom had a problem with that. He said he didn't want a wife who just wanted to stay at home, blah, blah, blah. And so once they talked again, she said, well, I don't want to not work, but once my kids are born, I want to be home with them, like at first, in the first few years, so she doesn't miss anything. And then he said, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. But Tom was also making a connection with Natasha. But ultimately, he ended up picking Maria, and Natasha was heartbroken. But we'll see all these people again because when they bring everybody back to stir the pot, well, they bring everyone back to, I guess to test the connections. But we all know it's to stir the pot, and it does most of the time. And Tom also tells Natasha, he's like, there's something there. There is a connection, but I'm not sure what it is. And so that's going to be a problem later. You just know it because it's like he felt like they have a deep connection, but not enough. I don't know, like not enough sexually. I think he did say that, but that's going to be a problem later. You just know it when Natasha comes back and the group meets everybody that they didn't see. We all know that's going to be some good drama. Let's be honest. So then Tom proposes to Maria. Maria accepts. They meet, and nothing strange about their meeting. They really like each other. So, that was the end of them for now. I forgot. I left out Ollie and Demi. I left them out when I mentioned all the couples too, because there's actually 6 couples. Yeah, I don't know how I did that. I think because I got caught up with Ollie and that whole Ollie and Catherine thing. But anyway, so Ollie did end up picking. He ended up picking Demi, and they meet, and he sees her, and she's worried about him seeing her because again, she's not a size 0, and he tells her that she's beautiful, and he's saying all the right things. So I'm rooting for them. So the couples get to Greece, and that's when we get a flashback of Nicole saying, something was off with her and Sam, and how when he gave her the ring, she put it on the right hand, and she thinks that was some kind of foreshadowing. And she said that she really needs to talk to Benaya because that's who she feels deep in her heart she should be with. So then they show Sam, and Sam also says, he said, I know when the doors closed, something felt off. So then they show Nicole again, and she goes, I need to talk to Benaya. They do show, I believe they show her, I don't think this is the right order though, but they do show Benaya meeting her at like a coffee shop or something, and she's telling him that she made a mistake. And he says, well, things worked out the way they worked out. So it led us to believe that he was probably not going to be into it anymore. But I think they just did that to make us think that, because when they showed the previews for the next few episodes, it looks like Nicole and Benaya are together, and then there's some weird thing with Sam involved, and Sam makes a comment about Nicole being at his apartment or something. So that's going to be lots of drama to come. Also, while they're in Greece, that episode, which was the last episode, it showed that most of I think all the couples consummated their relationships, except for Demi and Ollie. And Ollie was saying he doesn't want to be physical because he doesn't want that to be the forefront of their relationship. So that's it for episodes 1 through 4 of Love Island UK. And I will see you guys back here for the last episodes. And I'm pretty sure they're going to save the marriage episode for way later, like they always do. So I will be back to recap the next 4 episodes, I guess. And thanks for listening.